And I'm a project support officer at the CCA, the Center for Creative Arts. I'd like to welcome everyone to our last session. I hope that you've had a chance to tune into other sessions and that you have learned a lot. I certainly have. Today, I am very excited to be facilitating this session with Dr. Rebekah, whom I met yesterday. So, yes. Anyway, today we're talking about film marketing and PR. And, so you make a movie, then what do you then do with it? Before I tell you more about her, could I please ask everyone to please keep our housekeeping rules? That is, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. And if you have any questions, please write them in a chat box so that I can ask them to Dr. Rebekah as we go along. Anyway, this would be impossible without sponsors, without an audience, without the support of the people. And so we would like to especially thank everyone for the support and for everything, especially the sponsor of this particular session, the KZNFC. And as I mentioned yesterday, Dr. Rebekah Smith is an award-winning consultant and media personality with over 10 years of film festival strategy consulting experience. So she chose not to pursue a career in academia. So then she began her film industry career in 2009, working as one of the producers of the Wales' most successful national horror film festival, the Abertoir Horror Festival, which is part of the prestigious European Fantastic Film Festivals Federation. Rebekah and the hardworking team behind her company, the Film Festival Doctor, are creators of success and committed to nurturing filmmakers in order to help them secure an abundance of film festival screenings, win awards, positive recognition within the film industry. Currently, her company has over 800 awards for their clients. They've secured 1 Oscar nomination and several BAFTA long-listed short films. Rebekah and her team have supported over 848 creatives across the world, enlightening and inspiring their journey towards achieving their goals and following their filmmaking dreams. Dr. Rebekah, welcome again.
Thank you. Oh, I love this. I'm getting into a routine with this, like every day, like reading out the bio and then coming up to Durban Festival. Thank you. Well, nice to meet you all.
Yep.
Yes, nice to meet you all. Okay, we'll get started. So I shall share my screen with my PowerPoint. So I'm going to do a recap first of all. As those of you that weren't there yesterday for my presentation, I'll just do a little recap from where we began. So yesterday it was all about, that's me and my logo obviously. Yesterday it was all about how to create a successful film festival strategy. And I gave you this toolbox showing what I call my film festival submission process checklist. So we're going to go through that again and just give you a recap. But today it's going to focus more so on how to integrate into your whole festival strategy, sales plan and PR marketing. And we should have coming up in about 15 minutes, or about another 15-minute chat, a colleague of mine I work with who works in PR, and I'll be grilling her on some questions as to how to really get what value PR adds to your festival strategy and why you should have it in your strategy. So as a recap, this is me. So those of you that don't know me or weren't there yesterday's session, as I've been introduced, this is my company, the Film Festival Doctor. You can find out more about me on my website, obviously. There's also a shop page where you can get your free copy of your checklist and other bits and goodies as well. I also do one-to-one consultancies, and I work with loads of film festivals in South Africa, film festivals and filmmakers from South Africa. We love SA cinema. We worked on amazing films, Kalushi, Canary, Kings of Mulberry Street, The Seagull, The Hangman, that's just to name a few. And we've got right now Barakat just finishing off its festival run, really good movies for people like you. So yeah, there's a shop page, as I mentioned, for your freebie, which we'll talk about more. So the goal of the sessions that I've been doing is to give you this toolbox so you know where to start to plan your strategy and what these important components are. Okay. So obviously today we focus upon, PR and sales and where this goes in. And then we're talking to Patricia Shika, who is a publicist in Canada and the US. Now, this is what your freebie is on the shop page, but we talked about this in much detail yesterday. So I'm going to recap it now. So people tend to come to me and say, right, I finished the film. Shall we submit to Sundance? No, that's not what you do. First of all, you say, right, I finished the film. Which festivals should I submit to? And how do I begin? And here's the answers. You start here and work your way round. The first thing you must always do is really evaluate your film, meaning that getting objective feedback on it. So don't ask mum and dad and the gardener and the milkman. They're going to say it's going to win an Oscar. They don't know the festival world. Speak to people who've had experience in the festival circuit, obviously people like me, a festival strategist, that can give you very objective feedback and tell you exactly what level and tier of festivals will be the best fit for your film and where to aim and align yourself and not waste money on the wrong ones and getting lots of no's. That's the key thing. And that's the most important first step before doing any submissions, spending money and, trying to get into Sundance. Really stop back, take a bit of time out from it because you've obviously spent probably years on it or even more than that. And really just step back and get other people to help you, give you feedback that's constructive and will help you with the next step. If it's a very commercial film, that's not for festivals. So that would be more for the commercial market and not so much festivals, more getting a sales agent and getting local distribution. The next step of the process is your goals. And it's very important that you prepare very thoroughly and you've set your goals. So ask the question, what do I want to achieve from the festival circuit with my film? And it's at this stage where you obviously incorporate things like, I want to win awards to help my profile as a filmmaker, which is totally cool. I want to network to make more connections, to get more, potential work and more projects to work on. I want the film to get me to the Oscars. Well, if that's a strong enough film, and there's a route to do that, that means certain types of festivals. This is what your goals are, make them clear. But also in this section is where the PR and the sales come in. These goals are really important. Now, it's not a case of when you're doing the festival circuit, you're like, oh, right, let's get some PR. That has to be planned in advance, ideally, to get the best results. So you finish the film, you think, right, I want to get PR because I want to get reviews for the film to present to my peers, other connections, and will also potentially help me get funding for the next project. Having 5-star, 4-star reviews, interviews with me in really good press, it's going to help me a lot. And then obviously when I'm touring on the circuit with it, having the press follow me will help me a lot with my profile. So that needs to be really thought out before you do submissions. And the second part of that is obviously sales. Now, sales is a whole complex world. It's not straightforward. I mean, nothing in distribution is straightforward, neither is festivals. But it's important to think about sales. Do you have to get the money back for the investor? Have you got pressure to make a return on investment? Is there a certain deadline? These things might come into play. So you want to do festivals to help you, get notoriety and get connections for a sales agent, make that clear. Sometimes it might be a case of, I really need to get the money back and we can't do festivals as well. It has to be either or. Then you have to prioritize sales and go to a sales agent. Your goal would also be in this section, in the goals section, to get a sales agent, would be, I really, really need to attend a film market, like the Durban Film Market, to connect with distribution companies, to connect with more sales agents, to see if they want to sell my film, to recoup the money I have to pay back. So this all comes in the beginning, not halfway through, but the beginning, okay? So that's really crucial. So those goals include your personal goals for the film, and also your PR and marketing goals and your sales goals. Think about that in advance before doing submissions. Then I talked about your budgets. There's not just one budget to think about. There's 3. First budget is festival submission budget. So money for submission fees, money for me to help prepare you on the circuit and for your strategy. The second is your materials budget, which is money to put aside for creating a poster, trailer, synopsis, marketing as well, SRT file, and exhibition copies. These all cost money. So it's important to put money aside for these materials because you will need them. And the third is traveling budget. Right now, we can't go worldwide right now, but that was going to change at some point soon. So it's important if you want to travel with the film, think about which festivals are going to be good for you to attend and travel to. But please put money aside because you can't rely on the festival to cover every single cost. And also when you do a traveling budget, you have to take into account money to live in the country for a week or so, however it might be. If you're going to go to Tribeca in New York, take a lot of money because that's really expensive. If you're going to go somewhere else, say other parts of Africa, they're obviously different to New York. So be really think about your traveling budgets, and also look into ways you can get money to help fund you. I know there are some funds in SA for doing that, so look into that at the NFVF or even at Durban, etc. There should be those hopefully available to contribute, which will certainly help that budget not be too overinflated. Okay. The next step is your materials. So prepare your materials. So get made in advance. Start planning in advance, getting made your exhibition copies, festival screenings. That being predominantly what we call a DCP, digital cinema package. Blu-ray, not so much. It's more that, and obviously you'd have electronic files on your PC, so that'd be cheaper. But a lot of festivals that are going to screen physically, which is happening now, will want a DCP. So prepare all your materials, prepare your press kit with Patricia that she'll talk about shortly, and prepare all that kind of thing inside out. Okay. Also, what to prepare as well before doing submissions is a really good Film Freeway page, which I was talking about yesterday. Now, there are other platforms you can submit your films to. Not all festivals use Film Freeway. That is the most frequently used platform is Film Freeway, because there's a lot of festivals on it. There's about 8,000, which is quite a lot. Not all of them good, but there's a lot of festivals, a lot of content on there. However, there are other platforms too that have a lot less, and some specialize in short film depot. There's Fest Home. Some are starting to close down, and some festivals use their own website because they don't like Film Freeway taking commission, which is fair enough. But a lot of the time you're going to be doing a lot of submissions on Film Freeway. So it's best to get a really tip-top project page made for that. And actually any other platform, make sure you give the right impression. But Film Freeway is a really good guide. Have a really good trailer, poster, short synopsis, short bio, short director's statement. Keep it all succinct but punchy. I'm not going to read things like about 10 pages long. They just need it really to the point, and really striking stills and a poster trailer. They all come in to PR marketing as well, so it's part of that process, but it has to look professional and strong to people that want to look at your film. Okay. Now, these two parts, the final parts, are the most time consuming, especially this one, as I mentioned yesterday. And the reason being is because it just takes time to plan your strategy. So it's not going to be a rushed 2-minute job. It will take time to research, plan, and create it. In a nutshell, the way to research which festivals are right for your film is to look at previous programs of festivals that you've been aware of, research with friends about the festivals. If you've got a film that's BAFTA and Oscar qualifying level, then most definitely submit to that level and tier of festival, but check which kind of festivals would still be suitable, and look at their previous programs. What kind of film genres do they screen? Do they do lots of horror? Do they do lots of drama? Do they do less comedy? Look at the kind of quality and types of films that they've screened previously and what they look for. You'll find in their about pages on a website for a festival, and also on Film Freeway as well, they kind of tell you what they're about and what they look for. Okay, that will give you a really good guide. Look at reviews, go to film offices, see which part festivals they have, Google back qualifying festivals, Oscar qualifying festivals, and that will really help you, give you some guidance in regards to what type of festivals there are out there that have the kind of films that are like yours. So it's going to take time. And also on Film Freeway, there are sections that talk about which kind of, divided into genres like documentary, visionary, shorts, and all that, and horror, to really just like break down all of the festivals that are on there to give you some guidance too. So it takes a bit of time. When you get used to it, it becomes a lot quicker. We can help you with that, obviously, a lot too, if you can do that for you, obviously. But by yourself, research is the key. Even attend more festivals just to get an idea of what's what the program's like, and what the energy's like, and what kind of films they screen, to give you a really good impression. And the final part of this process is obviously the festivals, and then wait for the results to come in. and monitor your strategy. So look at what type of results you're getting on the circuit. And also, if you're getting more kind of festivals that are horror genre, if your film's a film, keep submitting to them. If you're getting less that are more bigger festivals, stop submitting to those and do more genre, for example. So that's that in a nutshell. So that is on my website. You can get that as a freebie and keep it on in your handbag. That question comes about, keep it in your handbag or on your office desk whilst you're doing this process. So we have Miss Shika has arrived. Shika, hello, darling. You're with us. Hello. Hi. Hello.
Hello, Rebecca. Hello, everybody.
So this, ladies and gents, is wonderful Shika, who loves PR. So I'm going to ask her some questions whilst we have her 15 minutes while she's busy editing about the process of film festival PR. Shika and I work on loads of films together. We've worked together for a very long time. And I want to go through with her now the process of getting PR for your film at a film festival. So Patricia, obviously we've done lots of work together, I've just mentioned that, but I always find that the key thing to do is we plan ahead in advance for those that want to get their film on the circuit and also get PR. Is it always true that to get really good press, not only do you need a really good film, but you also need a really good film festival as a hook to get people interested? Is that correct?
Yes, actually having a great festival strategy really supports your PR strategy. And it actually accelerates the results because you must have something to offer to the press, something where audiences can go and watch your film. So when the film becomes available to audiences, this is when journalists become interested in talking about your film. So that is correct.
Yes. And when we say interest, just say the bigger the festival, like, Durban Arts Qualifying Festival, Venice, all these kind of ones on the top tier, does that mean that bigger press would be interested potentially?
Yes, it all depends on the film, the filmmaker's history, and also the festival. So it's almost like a coordination of different aspects. But if you have a great film with a great director, and then you have a world premiere that is very prestigious, or a film festival selection that is in the niche of your genre. For example, if it's a horror film festival with a horror film, or LGBTQ, or a Black story, diversity story, female director, those are trigger words that we consider because there are different ways to promote them. Or if you have a topic in your film that is very predominant in the social conversations at the time of the screening, then you expand your potential for your film. So we have to weight every aspect. So we have this film, we have this director, this premiere, and how to find the perfect balance, the sweet spot, and create that strategy to promote the film and also get the interest from many angles, because we really have to hit the press from every possible angle that your film and your career offer.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a really good case study that we can share with the participants here. Was one called Goodnight Gracie. That was a really good 4-minute, by the way, short horror film, and it was a brilliant director based in LA, really up and coming. And the director said to me, "I want to get 100 film festivals." I was like, "Okay, well, it's going to be a very different times of quality. It's not going to all be top tier. It's going to be quite a mixture." And he went, "Don't care, has to be 100." I was like, fine. And the Patricia came on and she was doing the press. And you got for that film so many reviews. Can you remember then how much it was? Because she launched it on Alta as well. So you got press for that. It was quite a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got over 100 reviews, and that includes interviews with the filmmakers. It includes the reviews of the film, articles, press announcements, mentions in larger articles. And there was so much hype around this 4-minute short that we followed that strategy throughout different months. It wasn't just a one-time press release dispatch. It was really accompanying the filmmaking team month to month to month, from festival to festival to festival, so we can grow the awareness of the film in terms of media outlets. And they started hard. I told them this is going to be an exclusive announcement at this big media outlet, the biggest in the genre. And that's exactly what we got, because we created a strategy. And when we apply the strategy with a strategist, then it works, because we know the media, we know the outlets, we have those conversations weekly with them. So we are aware of what they're looking for. And because of those connections, we can really accelerate the process for the filmmaker to really target a big media for an announcement. And what was great with that team of Goodnight Gracie is that the filmmakers really followed the strategy. They trusted our team, myself for PR and you, Rebekah, for the film festival strategy. And they really followed it like something like they were checking the boxes, and it worked. And that's why it was so successful, because we really had a vision and we knew how to direct that vision to get those results and even surpass them.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Was like, I was so happy that film got over 100 festivals, and we just kept on submitting, and it had a really high success rate. With it being a 4-minute short, certainly helps in being a 40-minute one.
They even got distribution after with. They got widespread distribution, and we did the PR for the distribution as well. It was so successful. They got a lot of out of that 4-minute short.
They did, yes. Was the main hook the film, or was it because it starred a horror legend, Corey Gaines, who was in The Hills, or something? Was it good? I've forgotten his name now. But it had like a kind of a known star in the genre world. Was that what really helped? Was the actual film?
It was actually the concept. And I like to tell narratives that go beyond the film experience. So the concept was about a little girl being scared by this very nasty man, a monster type of character. And there was an element of Bible, of religion, of Christianism in there that we also slightly exploited it. But it was morely about introducing this trio of 3 filmmaking students from UCLA who gathered together to create this short. And it was the high concept of the genre of the short. And their goal was to promote their team as filmmakers who had credibility so they can produce a feature film after that. That was the goal. So the short was really the trigger to bring awareness about them, their team. And once we start talking with clients in PR, we assess what their goals are, what their intentions are, and where they want to go with this short. Because some people say, I just want distribution. I just want the short to be distributed somewhere and get money back. Or some other people might say, I just want the film to become really well known and win awards. And that's where you contribute, Rebekah, bringing them to different competitions. Some other people say, I just want to become famous. And it happens. They want them to raise their profile publicly, and we work on that aspect.
Exactly.
Some other people say, I just want film reviews. I want to be on Rotten Tomatoes. And that is what we do. So it depends on you, the filmmaker, what you want to get out of your publicist and your PR strategy. And that's where we go and we surpass those goals. And we don't ignore all the smaller possibilities. If we can bring you maybe a connection with a financier or with a distribution company, or even to make those connections with a producer that you aim to work with. We had a client who wanted to work with Peter Jackson, and he finally got a meeting with Peter Jackson in New Zealand. He flew there, but because the short became so out there, it had so much publicity, he really gained that confidence and that credibility to go meet somebody like Peter Jackson. So it depends on your goals, really.
Exactly. This is such an important thing I mentioned at the beginning of this session. And yesterday, goals are what drives the whole strategy and how you create it, how you spend your money. I've like we discussed just now with Goodnight Gracie, all that press was ticking boxes and people were interested and got distribution because it had such a high profile, with the really top of the range genre press, that everybody had up in that niche, and it got that distribution in the end. How easy is it to get press for a film that has a well-known star in, and also how easy to get press for a film that has nobody in it?
For short films is different than for features. For short films, if you have a star, of course, it will open many doors because people love stars. They want that recognizable face on the poster. So we can do celebrity targeted type of interviews and press. But really, what appeals to the press about shorts is the concept, is how good the short is, how well executed it is, and also which selections you're at. If you're at the festival that journalists go to or they are covering already, you will get even more chances. If you have a genre short, a LGBT short, a female director that is very good, and a topic, a theme that is current to the times, that also really helps. For features, I would say having the star is paramount. Like it's so important to get great press, especially in the elite higher ranks of the press, like the trades, New York Times, LA Times, etc. But for short, it's a little, people are more flexible because not all shorts have stars, but it is an extra little asset that we can work with for sure.
Of course, of course. Now, as we have a limited amount of time, questions for Patricia, please, while she's here before she has to disappear. Then we can open up to more questions about general stuff that I've been talking about. But any questions you have, Patricia, directly, you can ask her now. So please ask now while she's here before she has to disappear.
I love questions.
She loves questions. She's got to answer them. Clearly, I've just shown that. So don't be shy. Just ping it on the Q&A or ping on the chat, and then we will answer. Okay. Well, let's wait for them to get their questions sorted. Obviously, right now is you've had a lot of. I mean, you've been doing press during the pandemic. You know, things have been going on as normal with festivals, just online. So you still managed to get a lot of press. So it doesn't matter, does it? What's going on in the world? Is that, you know, the journalists are still looking for content 24/7, no matter what's going on, it's a pandemic or not. So there's been no massive change, has there?
It has been a shift in the press and how press is being handled. And we follow that week to week because since the pandemic, it's been evolving week to week. So we have to stay current, we have to stay aware, we have to have those communications. I would say like 3 times a week at least with different press outlets, just to know what's going on, where they're going, what they're looking for, when their deadlines are. So we have to stay aware. And that really helps to visualize where your film positions within that landscape of publicity. And it has changed because a lot of the outlets, they had to let go of their staff members since the pandemic. And now they are becoming even more like highly curating what they are going to cover. And with all the online virtual festivals, we also have to approach the PR and the publicity aspect of a film differently, because now the film might be available on different regions, not just the current city where it's screening. And is it available to press and industry? Is it available to audiences? So we have to really target differently and adjust. And we are constantly adjusting. PR, it's a slow burning process, but it's a process of adjustment as well. And that's what we do.
Okay, that's phenomenal. We have a question. Yeah, I mean, she's so on it. A lady here said, Sanel, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Sanel, I have a short film with 3 stars on board. That's good. 3 stars. Well done, 3 stars. Congratulations. How do I get hold of you? That's you, Patricia. Development was funded by NFBF about to go into pre-production first quarter 2022. Well, it's your email, isn't it? So let me get the email on the chat, and you can then get in touch with both myself and Patricia directly about that, because stars is always going to help a lot. Let me just get it up now. So Patricia, obviously, with stars in a short, that's pretty rare, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 stars. It depends what types of stars you have, because if they are stars that are super well known in South Africa, but they are completely unknown in North America, it's not the same stakes, that are on the table. So please define, if you want, what type of 3 stars you have. Are they A-list stars? Are they B-list stars? Are they Instagram stars? Are they TV stars? Are they just celebrities? South African actors. Okay, so that means if those 3 actors are part of they are known in your region, then we will really exploit the press, having them as the upfront of the PR publicity strategy in your region in South Africa. So that's something we can work. And for North America, we would mostly target the filmmaker and the concept, the theme, the genre, and the synopsis, the story of your film, and obviously the film festival selection.
Wow, 3 stars is incredible. Well done, Sanal, for planning ahead and thinking about, as we've been discussing, the goals now of festivals and PR. And really good that you've done that with NFBF. It's going in the right direction. Congratulations. So yes, please reach out to us about that. We can certainly make that happen. Because obviously we have loads of contacts of festivals in SA and the whole world. Great that you've got that hook, because that will get good press and good festivals. Really, really good.
And we do PR in 92 countries. So we do PR regionally. I have partners. I have my associate PR publicist in New York, Kai, who works with me. And we do all North America, but we also work in UK, Europe, and other regions of the world. We research your region when we are not particularly very present in that region, or we collaborate with other people from there who can guide us through which media outlets work best. But usually what happens is that we collaborate with the film festivals where you are premiering, and they already have a press list. They already usually have a press office or a press person within the festival that we communicate with regularly, so we can expand your potential there.
Exactly. So we have a question from, apologies if this is pronounced wrong, Kibar, who has asked, for a feature film looking for distribution, how long does the PR run go on for?
It depends of the time from the moment you start your PR strategy and the moment you find your distribution. And that could take a year for a feature film sometimes. Or it could be just a matter of weeks, because let's say if you premiere at TIFF, it might happen that you already found your distributor and you already are releasing the film the week after TIFF ends in the fall. So that could be a very short span, and you leverage from the publicity you got during the festival to segue into the publicity for the release. Every film is different, and that's why we need to assess all the information, evaluate it, and then have all the elements we need to create that strategy.
Of course. I mean, that's a really good question, Kabar, with regards to distribution. It can take a long time, which is why it's important to start reaching out to sales agents and going to film markets where you can connect with sales agents and start with a relationship and get your film on their radar if they want to sell it. It's a really good idea to get our sellers on board as early as possible, as in like development, ideally, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes sellers don't want to come on until they see the final product, who's in it, many things change, but it can take a while. So when you do your festival submissions, also start talking to sales agents, go to the film markets. That's the best way to connect with them, is at film markets. If you've not got any sales agent contacts whatsoever, you can meet sales agents and connect by booking meetings at a film market. A film market is not the same as a film festival. A film market is predominantly about selling films. Predominantly, that's what it is. It's a market. People go there to buy films. Distribution companies go there to buy a film from a sales agent that sell them. That's the short answer for it. So you can book a meeting in advance. Always book a meeting. Don't turn up spontaneously. Book a meeting towards the end of this market when they're less busy, and get them on their radar. Get them excited about your film and how they could sell it. And also make sure that you have your business cards and a trailer will be very important too. But it must be done at the same time. And the markets are AFM, American Film Market. Durban Mart obviously will have connections where you are right now. The Toronto Film Festival, Sundance has a market, Cannes is the biggest market, the Marché de Film, Berlin has the biggest market in Europe. The European film market is Berlinale in Germany. So they're the key ones, and Venice as well has that too. So, make sure you put them in your calendar when the film is about to be completed, so you have stuff to show and talk about. One more question as well from, K. Barre. Thank you. That's a much better pronunciation. That's how you pronounce your name. How early in the filmmaking process should we engage with PR experts such as yourself at the beginning? You can say that, Patricia.
Yes, as early as possible. We want to accompany you from the moment you know your project has been greenlight. And then we can strategize to have on-set photography, videography for the behind the scenes, to have press coverage while you are on set, and then announce when your production has wrapped, and then make announcements about first look at the trailer, first look at the poster, first look at the behind the scenes photos and videos. And those assets are so important and precious. So do not share them online on your social media, Facebook, Instagram, as you're filming the project, because then you kill all the possibilities for us publicists to be able to help you. We need those assets to be kept secretly and preciously in a hard drive that you share with us on a Dropbox or somehow on a platform that we can click and evaluate and select and have a strategy to release those elements to the press.
Of course. So there's a really good point there. So keep everything off Instagram, like behind the scenes and posters, keep it all scum until press release comes out and then just launches it.
The only thing you can share online, because we want to start the awareness and bring publicity while you're filming, have your actors do selfies, but maybe in the trailer while they're getting their makeup done, but don't show anything that will be on the final product, the final film on the screen. Show maybe the process. If you have practical effects or visual effects or makeup effects, show the process, how those creators, those artisans are making the film happen. So show little bits, little videos, maybe a 1-minute clip here, a photo there, or show the clap, the clapboard, or show just maybe the location that before you're filming, show this is the location, this castle, this magnificent castle is where we're going to be filming this project. So show elements, but that don't reveal anything from the film. So keep the mystery around the film. Maybe you can share who your cast is, but have a conversation always with your publicist on when and how to promote those elements.
Brilliant. And the final question for today is the all-important one. How much does it cost to use your services?
Well, that depends again. Publicity, it's a full-time job. Usually when we are covering films and accompanying you at markets or festivals, we don't sleep. We literally don't sleep. We make sure that all your schedule, your appearances, your interviews, your red carpets, everything is sorted out before you arrive, before you even land in the city. You already know where you're going and following a script. And also have some flexibility, because you never know once you're there who you can meet and what other opportunities will arise. But it's pricey, especially for short films. It could start at $3,000 US. And that's a very reasonable price. Some other people say we'll do it for less, but you will get less of a service. So, what you pay for is what you get. So get a good publicist, get a publicist who cares about you, who cares about your project, and who has those connections to accelerate your process. So really research your publicist. Don't go there blindly. Have questions, have a consultation with them to assess also, are we a good match? And sometimes we meet with potential clients who are willing to pay the big bucks, but it's just not a match because either their expectations are unrealistic or they are just not the right match for what they want to get out of publicity. I'll give you an example just so you understand what I mean. I had a client once who paid a lot of money for me to be their publicist of their short film at a big festival. And of course, when you have a film at a big festival, all the journalists want to talk to the director, the leading star, sometimes the producer, but only if the producer has a big contribution or it's already a known producer. And who funded the campaign was the wife of the producer, who had a small role in one of the scenes of the short. And she wants to become an actress, but she's not an actress. She just wants to become one. So she paid for the whole PR, hoping that she will be interviewed and the press would want to showcase her and everything. But she has a very small part in one of the scenes. And then when the publicity requests started to come, all the journalists wanted to talk to the filmmaker. They wanted to talk to the lead star, the main role who was in every scene. And then she got mad. She said, how come I'm not getting interviews? I'm paying for the PR. And I said, well, we pitched you. We sent all your bios, your photos, and we pitched you. But the journalists, they don't want to talk to you. You have like 2 lines in one of the scenes. They want to talk to the leading star. And then I realized, and I learned a lesson myself as a publicist, always ask the client what their expectations are and who is paying, who's writing the check, because the person who's writing the check always have an agenda, and you have to know what that agenda is, so you can assess if yes or no it's a good match for you, and you can fulfill those requests. So that was an example of sometimes it's just not a match, because we know the actress who has a small role will not get any interviews. And that's how it works, Of
course. Great. Well, thank you so much, and for giving us so much of your time. I really appreciate that today. I have to head off in a minute to go and get a plane. I've just got to go back to the edit suite because it's all systems go. But we've really enjoyed today, and thank you so much for all your wonderful questions and also being part of today's presentation. And if you have any more questions, then please email us. If you want to talk to Patricia, her email is here in the chat, and mine as well. So by all means, please don't be afraid to reach out. We'll answer the questions and give you all the time of day. So Patricia, have a lovely rest of your day.
Yes. Where are you flying to, Rebekah?
Dallas. That's
great.
Not too far from Mexico, so it's like across the border. But we've got to get there because of just everything's back to normal in the roads here. So it's all systems go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Durban Film Festival, and Rebekah. It's great collaborating with you as always. And anybody who has questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to answer them. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.